obviously we're the ones doing
Sure.
all the time.
Okay.
Hey, it is Phil Ratcliffe, and welcome to our live broadcast. We are doing our first episode from our new office, so hopefully everything is working okay. If not, bear with us. We will figure it out and get a high quality upload if not. So today we have a great episode, and I think it's something that's cool that's going on in the community. We have Cid Rhomberg here from Brick House Blue, and we're going to talk about co-working. So thanks so much for being here with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Phil, for having me.
Absolutely. So, before we get into the co-working and the actual company,
Yes.
About you. So it seems like you've had a long career of where you came up through management and then went into marketing with some big companies. I mean, primarily here, but you were in Connecticut a little bit as well. So tell us a little bit how that came about to where you really focused in marketing and why that was your calling.
Sure. So I'm an OSU grad and graduated with a marketing and transportation logistics degree. I'm pretty sure that doesn't even exist anymore within Ohio State. It's now its own little city down there. And I started off in marketing primarily. I started at the Limited.
Okay.
And I think as any young girl, I always thought that was kind of the glamorous dream to be able to do that.
Sure.
Went into management through them.
And that's hard sometimes to start and then move up to that kind of role, right?
It is. You start as a little, I called myself Patty part-timer. I was working quite a bit. Worked my way through college, paid my own college.
Wow. That is a rarity. That's awesome.
I feel badly for kids today because I don't think you could do it in today's environment with the cost of education.
If you were Columbus State or Woodsville and not trying to pay for, take your time.
So fortunate to have that opportunity. Graduated, went, continued with the Limited, went to Safelite Glass Corporation.
And that's when you switched to marketing.
It really is. I wanted to get in something that was more of my functional field that I got my degree in. From Safelite, I spent 5 years there, went and joined the Stanley Works, which is now Stanley Black & Decker because of a merger. They are based out of New Britain, Connecticut. Now they're primarily based in Rhode Island because of Black & Decker, but in the day, that's where they were. So
you don't hear much about them, but I do a lot of construction, so I still buy tools.
Yes. So Stanley is more of that retail brand. They also own something probably not known, but they acquired a number of different brands as well. So Proto brand, which is construction grade, Mac Tools is their automotive brand that competes with Snap-on or Matco, and they have other brands as well. But really,
some of that may have happened after you left too, but you kept up, right?
No, those were all the brands that I managed.
Okay.
So those were brands that I managed from a marketing perspective. All had different audiences of which we had to go after. The permanent move to Connecticut is what kind of forced me to then leave Stanley, and was very fortunate to end up at Cardinal Health, another great organization that I spent a dozen years with in multitude of different marketing capacities there.
Everything you had a whole career path.
A dozen years. So everything from your very traditional e-business type of marketing to things that were more customer-oriented. We started the first customer experience initiatives there. They hired a chief customer officer.
That was phenomenal growth. Because didn't he turn it around from Cardinal Foods or something like that to be this whole healthcare conglomerate?
It was. Robert Walter, Bob Walter, the founder and longtime CEO there. And I was very blessed to be able to work with him for a number of years. And he's now continuing to do great things. But it's a phenomenal company.
Yes, absolutely.
So left there in 2013 and went from that corporate thing to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and how do you like that? Because obviously you still kind of do both with what you're doing, what we're talking about today.
Exactly. I never imagined I would be in this space. I loved the big organizations, and even though that can bring some bureaucracy, a little bit of political nature, I think I managed well through that. But going out on your own, it challenges you in different ways. It forces you to grow in many, many different facets and different skills, different competencies that you needed to grow in order to be able to be successful on your own.
And I bet if you're successful and you like it, then it's probably cool to have a diversity of different clients now from younger to more mature companies
It
to
is.
places that have totally different cultures, it's probably
It is.
more, if you would like that, it's probably enjoyable just to have the different challenges. Right?
It is. And what I can relate though to is now being an entrepreneur, I can relate to the people who are in that smaller organization or trudging through and trying to get, to the point where they're profitable. And I can also relate to many of my clients that are from large organizations. So, the large entities that are here in town that employ a lot of different people, and the people who come into our co-working space that might be part of a very large organization, but they might be the local contingency or the local staff that they have here of a much larger of a much larger entity. So I can help them relate on both sides of it.
I can see that. All right. So let's dig into our local Brickhouse Blue co-working. What is co-working? How's it evolved? What is it for people that may not know?
Absolutely. So co-working is the new way of working. I'll say that. Everybody thinks of co-working, and you might relate it back to the Regis. The Regis has been around forever.
Yeah.
And it's shared office space, essentially, is what it is. But in the older format, you went in, you maybe had a specific desk that you would go to, or a specific office with a receptionist out front. The co-working mode is a way to bring people together from all different companies, from different skill sets, from different functional areas, and you're working either in an open environment. We do have offices, so if you are more of that traditional kind of a employee, or you like that traditional space where you want a door that can shut, we do have those as well.
Or if you like both.
So if you like both. We have people who have an office that come out and sit in the open because they want a different environment throughout the day. It allows you we have all the amenities. So we provide your internet. We do your coffee, your tea, things that you would find in a normal office building. We've got your copier, your scanner.
Don't have to worry about it. It works.
You just don't have to worry about it. So
we've just gone through an ordeal with AT&T, and it was horrible. So I can appreciate just not having to have
that whole back end infrastructure. You don't have to deal with.
Well, I even saw in the conference rooms there's audio, video, text that will help you. So if there is a problem, you don't have to freak out and be a guru yourself.
No,
to fix
so
it, right?
We have all of those capabilities. So we've got monitors that you can connect to. We've got Apple AirPlay. We've got different types of technology that allow you to connect. We can do video conferencing. We can do conference calls. So any of those kind of things you need to be able to run your business, we feel that we can supply that for you as being a member.
Instead of it in a traditional mode, even though you can still have some of that, this is for people, especially I think a lot of the younger generations like collaboration more than maybe some of the older generations that were just everybody sit in their office and we come together for meetings.
Right.
If you information share, I guess as long as it's secure for your business, right?
Right.
Then there are tons of cool, good ideas that you can have or give, or you can be happier.
Our members then collaborate with each other. We have members that are doing business with each other. We have members who are referring people to other members. So it's a great community from that perspective, from the co-working. Co-working is also an opportunity where smaller companies can enter into a space, have your own space within the space, and not have to take out a long-term lease, not have to be, long-term committed. So you might be in the Dublin marketplace, which is where we are. You may end up finding that the majority of your clients that you're attracting are in a different part of town. So
it's almost like you could have a branch there for less commitment.
You could have a branch there, or you could co-work out of a different location. If you want to be one of our more permanent folks that has 24/7 access into the space, then you can take out a 6-month commitment. And
is there, if somebody does that and is a bigger there, do they have any kind of signage there or no? Where people know
not
that they're...
really. We don't do that. We allow them to equip their office however they would like to. We do virtual mail. You advertise that you actually office out of our space. And that allows them to have an element of identity. We put signage up outside of all of the office doors. So if you are XYZ or Acme Company or something like that,
suite or something, there'll be something
there is signage that goes along with that. Absolutely.
Okay. So tell us specifically about Brickhouse Blue and what you guys are doing in that space and in Dublin?
Absolutely. Thank you. We opened January of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So we're about 20 months in, 21 months into our launch, and we are a hybrid.
Okay.
We're a co-working space, and we also have large meeting and event conference rooms.
Okay.
With that, meaning that you can be outside. You don't have to be a member of Brickhouse Blue to come rent a space. For example, some of the companies.
Do an event or
You want to have an
yeah.
offsite meeting, if you want to do a training session, if you want a team building event, if you want to do your strategic plan outside of your office, we have the space to be able to accommodate. So we've got 5 different conference rooms that range from 400 square feet to about 1,500 square feet.
That's huge.
And so we can take small groups. You can come with a group of 2. You can come in with a group of 120.
Wow.
And we will be able to accommodate that.
Yeah.
So that's one piece of our business or a revenue stream for us. The other one is the co-working. You can come in a pop-in pass, meaning you can just drop in for the day.
Yeah.
You can do everything up to the 24/7 office type of environment or a suite environment. So we do have a couple of our larger suites that are occupied by small companies that have 3 up to 5 or 6 people in them.
Wow. So in terms of the pop-in things, is there like an app that they get that tells them what the availability is or what's so? If you guys are full or what's so?
We take anybody. We have yet to be to the point where we're full.
So hopefully they would be a problem you have to
hopefully one day
soon, right?
maybe that will be a problem, but for right now we have 115 to 120 members within our co-working community. But people come and go at different times of the day. Because of the 24/7 access, we have some members that don't come to work until 9 o'clock at night and might work until 2 or 3 in the morning because they might be doing business internationally.
Yeah.
We've got folks that come at 4 in the morning because, again, of that international component. We have one co-working member that has a client in Russia. So he comes to the space very early to be able to communicate with them on their time zone.
Yeah.
And so out of the 115, 120 members, you might walk into this space and it feels a little empty one day, but they're out doing their jobs. You know, they're out making sales calls, or they're out with clients, or they might decide that that is their day from home.
Yeah, that is interesting. I could see like there'd be like a flow of like it gets really busy and sometimes it feels dead. Or
there are some days that it feels a little cavernous and empty, and then there are other days it's bustling and the energy is vibrant.
That's cool.
Yep.
I would say that especially if you're a smaller company would be a really cool thing. That was, I mean, we just did this new office and it was one of my worries. Like since it's way big for what we need, but
you're going to
growing into it, but
You're
still I was
grow.
worried that it would seem too empty and it might be a negative impact on culture. So like that would, I think, be a really cool thing if you were a smaller company to feel like you're a part of hundreds of people that are really doing cool things, even if they're not necessarily a part of your company. Yeah.
Well, when you think of the average American, you know, a lot of people work in corporations or for larger organizations, but there are a lot, I mean, just a huge percentage of people who work for small companies that are entrepreneurs, that are solo, that are freelancers, that want to dabble in something but not have a full commitment. And we have everything in our space from a group of 20 people that are the regional entity for a very large organization out of California, to the one-person entity that is, you know, just trying to do a startup, or that's all, not to say that that's all that they want, but that's really what they want. They want to be that individual solo entrepreneur or solopreneur that is out there.
So I read this and I'm intrigued just to understand, what is a huddle room?
Yeah, sure. A huddle room is a meeting room. Where we could be sitting in a huddle room within the room that we're in right now.
Okay.
It's just a small.
It's like a small conference, like a round table type thing, rather than a conference table or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our furniture is, I mean, it's your traditional office furniture. So we don't have people hanging from the ceilings and doing their work in a funky way. No, we don't have that. But we've got, you know, some varied different furniture configurations. And if you're renting one of our meeting rooms, we'll set it up however you want. You want a big U shape, you want pods of people, you want classroom style, you want theater style. We will make sure that we can accommodate whatever the meeting requirements are to make it the most productive for our attendees and for our guests.
The concept is interesting to me because right now we make everybody either do a WebEx or come here. But I saw like your annual one where you could like pop in, and there's like 75 of those huddle rooms. It's like we could have like a few days where we just have days open up there for our clients that are on that side of the city. And that sounds like a cool solution that's way more cost effective than trying to open branches everywhere. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some people don't, even when we have a lot of traveling people that travel in their jobs. And maybe that 1 or 2 days a week that they're in town, some people find that they're just not as productive. And that's the great thing about co-working is we bring people together. Why do people go sit in a coffee shop? Because they don't want to sit at home by themselves. If I were home right now, all my kids are out of the house. One of the greatest things I ever found when I was in the corporate world is those days you look at your calendar and you're back to back to back with conference calls. And you think, I'll just do those from home.
Yeah.
And won't that be nice? And I won't have to, do my hair that day. I can walk around my house in slippers. And it's a luxury to be able to do that. It's a different environment.
A lot of times they're not near as productive. I mean, some people can do it.
Some people can do it and they can grind through it. My husband is one who's a salesperson. He's got an office out of our home. And he's there maybe 1 day a week, but he's very focused and he makes it work for him. Other people get distracted. You think of, I can go do the laundry. I can run to the grocery store in the middle of the day. And before you know it, your day is eaten up and you're not as productive. So we want people to come in and get that energy, get in a productive environment. So if you come in for 2 hours or you come in for 10 hours, we just want to be the place that allows you to be the best you,
I think it's really
and
cool.
to create the best work that you can.
So tell me, you guys have some unique other services. I think you mentioned one with the virtual mail, but you do marketing and whatso and concierge services and whatso. So tell us a little bit about that.
So in addition to, after I left the corporate world, my first entity that I started was more of a consulting coaching company. I'm an executive coach. I work with people who are typically at a director level on up to a CEO in an organization, and helping them navigate how to be the best leader that they can be, because it's all about your leadership qualities and attributes to get the most out of the people who work with you. Whether you manage a small staff, a large staff, you're a brand new manager and just kind of going into learning how to navigate those waters, going from an individual contributor to being a manager, to then think about going from a manager to a leader. Those are very significant steps that people take throughout their career. And we all get caught up in our own isms, and we all have triggers, but we all have incredible strengths. So let's use those strengths to make you the best at what you can be in your new role or in your current role. So that's the coaching part of it. I bring that into Brickhouse Blue as well. So you can come there. I can do coaching. We can do team sessions.
You do coaching yourself, but then you also do it through there.
I do.
And if somebody's a member, is it like discounted for them versus if they did, like engaged from the outside or what's it? Right?
Everybody gets stuck in a spot. So let's figure out how to get you past that and continue to be really productive. So absolutely, bring it to Brickhouse Blue, but I also have my own coaching clients as well that are outside of there. And those range from smaller entities. I think probably my smallest coaching client comes from a firm that does about 30 million, up to, I've got some fairly significant Fortune 500 companies throughout the country. So it's not just in Columbus. I do a lot of
travel a lot, or do you
I do travel. I do travel when required, but some of that can be remote. But I've got, we were just talking a little bit ago about a client of mine out of Cleveland. I run their entire leadership development program, and they do cohorts every year of 10 to 15 people. I'm with them from January to November. We meet multiple times in person as a team, and then I meet with their people individually to be able to address their individual needs. So we're building skills and competencies as a group, but then let's kind of drill down and figure out how do you apply those to your work. Sounds like a good
company that's making a good investment in people on a continual basis.
It's a great way to say it. It absolutely is. They're making a great investment for their employees to help them build those skills to be more productive and have their own teams be more engaged as well.
Sure. I mean, that's great. I mean, it's like you kind of get the bipolar now of like either, I think everybody makes a mistake, but you'd like want to say the bigger bureaucratic companies that treat their people like human resources, right? And then you get some of the younger, more progressive people that are trying to automate people out of things.
Right.
And still, I mean, people are still your most expensive and potentially your most productive and beneficial part of your business. And so those two mentalities kind of on both sides probably hinder that.
It does. The other type of client I do on the coaching side is when companies bring somebody new in, and I help onboard them into the organization, because you talk about the human element is probably one of your biggest operating expenses as an organization. Sure. And the longer you can keep them and get them trained and help them continue to grow their own skills, the more they're going to bring back to you. The loyalty in the younger generations isn't necessarily the same as it was for the people who are maybe retiring out of the workforce today. You know, people used to join a company.
2 or 3 employees or employers over their whole life.
Exactly. And today it's really, let's create that work-life balance that works for each one of us.
Yes.
That's environmental. It's also developmental. So I want to work in a particular environment, but I also want a company that's going to help develop me. I want a company that I can be challenged in. I want a company that's flexible, that may allow me to not have to sit at that desk in that chair 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I want those kind of things. And I think that that's the beauty of how the workforce is evolving and how co-working also can play into that.
That is interesting. It would be interesting to see if more larger companies, instead of just opening their own offices, would have like more memberships in companies like
Brickhouse Blue. Right.
And then their employees could choose to go to different locations and and have that. That would be pretty cool.
That's really one of our next opportunities, we think, within Brickhouse Blue, is to go after what we call that enterprise type client.
Okay.
Do they take out so many memberships, you know, where maybe I've got 30 seats that are reserved for, might be 5 seats, but I need a day out, I need a break, but I don't want to work from home. How do I go to a place that helps me continue to be productive, but I got to grind through some things. I got to put the plan together. I've got whatever it is. It's another element for us to go after those type of clients, to allow people that one-off opportunity.
I can see lots of opportunities too where a certain office to a certain person may be kind of toxic, but they're really good and they can almost self-select out but still work and be awesome productive.
We're all human.
Right?
We're all human. Yes. And
then you might find that you got a problem if you got one manager sitting in the office and all his employees are
but that's a different issue. But that illuminates the issue and brings it to the forefront as well.
Sure.
Because people working together is hard. One of my coaching methods or approaches is all around interdependence. You know, we can all work independently, but we can only do as much as each one of us can bring to the table.
Sure.
Your skills are only going to take you so far. You only have 24 hours in the day, so you only have so much capacity. Getting work done as a group, through people, with people.
It's a much better way of saying like the weakest link type thing.
It is, but it's working through interdependence. So if you've got a manager and all their people run off and say, I'm taking that option, then let's focus on what do we need to do to develop that manager.
Change that to where people don't feel like that.
Right, so people want to work as a team.
For sure. And it can be rewarding to have a cool culture, and in the military we used to say esprit de corps, right?
Absolutely.
So where do you see the future of Brickhouse Blue and co-working going? Is there going to be lots of them all around? Are you guys trying to stay mainly in Dublin? Are you going to be all around Columbus? Or is it trying to be more geographic?
Question. Yeah. Thank you. We are opening, we're working on our second right now. We're in construction, and that will be in Dublin as well, in the Bridge Park district.
That's an awesome place over there.
Thank you. Well, I say thank you. I would say Crawford Hoyne. Absolutely. It's a vision that they had. The city of Dublin has supported it. And the companies and the vibrancy, et cetera, that, you know, it's part of that whole work, live, play type of a model. You come there to work, there are people who live there, and then it's got great playgrounds and entertainment from restaurants and pins and
It's really interesting.
16-bit. So
Because that's where I started my career, was up in that Metro Park place, and I just always thought of Dublin as like this dodgy old world business.
no,
But not
we're
anymore,
cool
right?
and hip
Somebody
now.
made a decision to change that and be like, let's be more like downtown where they're making these things, and like not make this like the old business place. Let's upgrade it. And that's interesting because all these municipalities are what so could change if they wanted to,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
It's having that vision, and I think Dublin had, working towards that great vision, because if it is old and stodgy, people of your age don't want to come live there.
Sure.
And you want people to navigate there. You want people to be drawn there. I'm going to put a plug in because of the new Dublin branch library that opened in June.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is, again, just another example where the city and the Columbus Metropolitan Library invested in creating it. So it's a different landscape now than what it used to be. And I'm giving a plug because I co-chaired the Capital campaign with Dr. Carol Clinton, but we crossed that finish line. It was the largest fundraising event that they've done.
Good job.
But again, it shows that the community is going to embrace it. The day that we opened the library, they had, I think, record-breaking attendance of people who just wanted to go in and see the new library. So super cool. Where are we going next? Back to your question. So we're opening our second location. Why? Just right down the street from where we are. Our co-working community is, as I said, we have 115 to 120 members.
Mm-hmm.
We are full on the offices. And so our next one, which is 5 buildings down, is going to be all offices, suites. Today in the workforce, people want to come together, where it's not the traditional every single person gets an office. I want a big place and I want 8 people in that room.
Sure.
And that's how I want to be able to operate, because I want the collaboration amongst all of us. So it's going to be a combination, a little bit flexible, with some garage doors that can take 500 square foot offices and make them 1,000. It can take other rooms, and we're trying to make it flexible.
Imagine
and
you
easy.
have to be very strategic in how you do that, and even just thinking about like here, like sound dampening and stuff like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. But Crawford Hoyne believes in co-working. Co-working is continuing to grow. Developers are getting into co-working. Your old traditional landlords are getting into co-working, and we are an operator of a co-working space within the Crawford Hoyne Development Group. Crawford Hoyne is putting a significant investment in the second one. It allows smaller businesses then to be able to come into the community that would not have the means or the confidence to say, I'm going to take out a 10-year lease on a building.
Yeah.
I'm going to take out a 10-year lease on a space. They can come into my space and rent it for a year.
And then it's a big hurdle. I mean, if they're younger or their revenue streams are not proven, some landlords would not even want to sign that deal.
Exactly.
And so they may not even be able to get to decent space.
Exactly. And your brand and how you represent. I mean, you're building a beautiful office here.
Thank you.
But that says a lot for your brand when clients come in here. For what some new, smaller companies can afford, it may not have all of those nice amenities. And allowing them to continue to come and grow and develop their business models, I think, is where that next trend is going.
Well, I think it's cool. It's because I think there was a lot of maybe some of the older generation that was like, well, this new generation's not going to collaborate at all because they're all just looking at their phones or what's. But I think trends like this, and even some of those things that bring people together, like Slack and stuff like that, to collaborate, I think like it's actually going to go the exact opposite way.
I think the younger generation collaborates, but in a less formal way.
Less maybe social, like traditionally social way,
there's a lot on the social media. They're putting themselves out there just like we would. It may not be always voice to voice, but I think the older generation has a stereotypical view of the younger generation. They do collaborate. They do get together. There are things such as meetups, etc. They put themselves out there just as much, but it may be through different means. They're still communicating, but it's through a piece of technology.
You just got to translate together.
Right. That's all you have to do. Right.
Well, thanks so much for coming in. Are there any last words of wisdom or things coming up that you want to kind of mention before we wrap it up today?
Well, if anybody's interested in co-working, I am not the only game in town, and test them out. Give them a try and see if it's right for you. There are lots of different models that are out there. just everybody finds where they feel at home.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important for people. We've gained a lot of members. We've had people that have left. It's just not the right fit for them, or their company has changed, or they switched jobs, or etc. But it is a very collaborative type of an environment. And I think one of my last, comments would be just be a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
And completely open to whether it's new environments or new skills that you can continue to develop.
That's cool advice. You think about it. There's tons of genres of music. Not one is bad or good or what. So people like totally different things, right? I could totally see like the design or the type of people that are attracted to this area or to this place may not be the people you get along with, but another one could be.
Absolutely.
And so I wouldn't even have thought of that if you hadn't said that. So that is.
Yeah.
A good thing. Well, thanks so much for coming in.
Hey, you're welcome.
We very much appreciated learning about this. And if you guys haven't heard anything about it, look it up, give it a try. If you think that it could even give you some synergy, I think you guys make it easy in terms of like the day passes and even the month. You have one that's just month to month, like no contractor commitment, right? And that to me seems like it's a very low risk investment to just try and see if it is something.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for taking some of your day and some of your time and sharing it with us. Hopefully it helped you. Join us. I think we're going to take a week off. The week after next, we're going to do our book review on Thinking in Bets. So a great read. Me and Tony are finishing it for, I think, his second, my third time. So we make sure that we're all over it for you, but it will be good. So have a fabulous weekend, and thanks again.